Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit late to this, but I had a rather busy week, and today we're going to go over what Apple presented this week at WWDC 2024. So first of all, Vision OS is getting a few upgrades. Now, this is a $3,500 augmented reality headset that I probably will never purchase because I'm broke, honestly. And they're making a new OS for it called Vision OS 2. So you could create spatial photos from your 2D images, which is which seems cool, but it's just gimmicky. You could also do share play for photos as well, and the Photos app has been redesigned. You could also trim any video on an epic scale or edit spatial videos with Final Cut Pro. Again, another. Sorry. Again, a software that I really don't have interest in using. So, and then we have new gestures for easy navigation, which kind of looks like the Ogma from Ordinal Scale or something. And then there is the home view as well. You can customize it to switch apps. You can open up Reddit. You can watch Apple TV, listen to music, have mindfulness. There's even compatible apps, which is basically iOS apps or something. And now, if you do own a Mac, which I plan on not using, you can actually make your own ultra wide monitor using private ultra wide monitor using your Vision Pro, which is pretty cool, but again, I don't plan on buying a Mac. And you can also set up environments and stuff. It's pretty cool. And you have like and you could also watch videos in Safari and becomes more cinematic or something. And there's also you could connect your Magic Mouse or third-party Bluetooth mouse to navigate while using Apple Vision Pro. Now this mouse actually really sucks because yeah, you literally have to plug the lightning connector underneath the mouse if you want to charge it. But someone in China had solved that problem, so yeah. And there's also guest user. And you could also catch multiple games at once, which you could watch a ton of games. You also have persona enhancements, which you could do FaceTime or third-party video calls, variety of backgrounds, look to dictate, at AirPlay receiver, and now there's train support. So basically, if you're if you're going on a long commute via NG Transit or Amtrak or something, then you could use it to work privately or catch up on your favorite shows or something. And did we forget to mention that that Vision OS, uh, Apple Vision Pro will launch on June 28th for China, Japan, and Singapore, and July 12th for Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and the UK. Now for China, it's a little ambiguous because of the current geopolitical tensions between the US and the PRC, especially in regards to Hong Kong and Taiwan. So that's enough about iOS. iOS 18 will add RCS messaging. Now, there was a time when Google was constantly nagging Apple to add RCS messaging because Apple was using SMS for the longest time ever. And it was only because of European mandates that Apple had to adopt RCS. I'm just waiting for my picture library to pull up. This is from one of the CES shows. Hold on, let me change the transform. Center? No, not center. Fe. It says, "Hey Apple, it's Android. Since CS is about sharing the latest tech, we thought we'd share some code to help fix your pixelated texting problem." Oh wait, yeah, you still use SMS. Well, not anymore because they added RCS support. And you could also make home screen icons bigger, which existed on Android. Now there's photos, game mode on iPhone, which is already a thing on Android. And the journal app, uh, I haven't used it much, but I might start using it if I do a full transition to iPhone or back to iPhone because I was an iPhone user between 2013 and 2015 before I switched to Android. Now there's also tap to pay for Apple Cash, so you could pay people directly, but I don't know anyone who uses that. And event tickets, improve support. Now, if you own iPhone 14 and iPhone 15, you could send iMessages without Wi-Fi or cell service and SMS via satellite. This is good because you could send stuff off the grid and it's like, however, this only works in the US. Now for the mail app, they have a lot of stuff that was already there. Messages app, scheduled send. Android had this feature for years. And you could also lock individual apps behind Face ID, but Samsung phones have had a secure folder. But there's a controls gallery, new controls onto the lock screen, which Android had automatically, had for years. And you also have theming, place app icons anywhere. Android had that for a while. So this is the overview. Now let's look at Apple's page for iOS 18. I'm looking for iOS 18, so I think it's iPhone. Hold on. Okay, got to the iOS 18 preview page. So we could, but it has a lot of AI stuff that only the iPhone 15 can use. And yeah, a lot of AI stuff. You have new look apps for icons and stuff. Update to Control Center. Android already had that. Controls Gallery. Also, Android had that. And you could customize the controls, swap this. This was already on Android. Photos, organization, messages. Uh, yeah, there's connecting with cellular, and you could also have RCS for people who don't use iMessage. The mail stuff, Google already had that. Safari, highlights, and you also have a passwords app. And it even works on Windows too, if you have the iCloud for Windows. But that app is absolutely terrible in the fact that you cannot specify an external drive for or another drive to sync your data, which is pretty bad. Now you have the trail networks, and you can create your own route, gaming mode. You have more responsive AirPods and controllers, and personalized spatial audio as well. Now, Wallet has tap to cash. You can pay using your rewards or installments. You have your event tickets and all that stuff. Now, AirPods has hands-free Siri interactions, voice isolation too, and personalized spatial audio for gaming. You have notes, and you can summarize notes and all that stuff. Crunch numbers. um, it could have collapsible sections or something. You could also highlight stuff in the journal. This is something I really wanted to do because Father's Day is coming up, and there are two books I purchased for my parents. Because there's also a Mother's Day version of the same book I purchased, so I purchased that too. So you could search for past entries and add widgets for writing prompts, for streaks, Apple TV apps, which has insight, but I only really used it to watch a Tetris biopic. Could also tune into the whole conversation, home app, which I don't need. Privacy and security, I don't really trust Apple with that, honestly, or any major corporation. You have accessibility, new calculator, calendar, freeform, SOS, live video, SharePlay, Apple Fitness, and phone. It's compatible with these devices, so the original iPhone 10 and iPhone 8 will not be compatible with this new OS. However, the iPhone SE second generation and third generation will work. And 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's enough about iOS. Now, Samsung actually did respond to this with a marketing campaign on social media, and they said that Apple's AI is inherently inferior to Samsung's AI. But let me tell you this. Even though Apple's AI, they claimed it's for the rest of us, even though most people don't own iPhone 15s. There are some glaring deficiencies that that Samsung devices have. Let's just pull up the next one. TV doesn't really have a lot of stuff, but WatchOS 11. Let's begin with WatchOS 11. So you could check in, you could have live activities, redesign photo space, enhanced ticketing, effort rating, training load, distance and route maps, intelligent smart stack, new views for pregnancy, which never mind. Turn-by-turn hiking navigation, translations, custom workouts for pull swims, interactive widgets, double tap API, and vitals. You could also pause the activity rings as well. I really need to get an Apple Watch because um I find myself taking out my phone every time I want to make a payment, whether it be a credit card payment, a debit card payment, or a transportation type IC card payment whenever I'm in Japan or something. I also really need to work out more, so and overall staying healthy. So iPad OS 18, you have the new phone tab bar. Math notes is rather important because even though it's really smart and it can do a lot of things for you, unfortunately, it might dumb down, or it might. I have concerns whether, uh, people, I mean, it's specifically grade school students will use this to like cheat on tests or something. And you also have Notes app, and it's a lot of cool stuff. But calculator's finally coming to iPad after 14 years. Why hasn't Apple done it sooner? So you have home screen customization, control center customization, interactive graphing, screw scenes in freeform, Photos app redesign, math note, Myers integration, and calendar home screen customization, which is on Android already, and also control center customization. Now, macOS Sequoia marks the death of Intel-based Macs. It was a good 18-year run, I'd say. And you had presenter features. Now you could snap windows on macOS like that. It's been a thing on Windows 7 for 15 years. Yet macOS is only adding it now? Like why? Sorry. There's also a new passwords app as well, as I mentioned earlier. So you have a redesigned reader, iOS notifications on Mac, Apple Pay on third-party browsers, passwords app, easier window tiling, which has been on Windows for 15 years, Toolkit 2, iPhone mirroring, hiking and maps, yada yada yada. Now check iPad OS 18. So it has Apple Intelligence, which is AI, notes, make text stand out with color. I'm sorry if this presentation's getting a little bit boring, but this is a lot of stuff that you see on iOS. Messages, game mode, Safari, password, share play, freeform, and let's see which iPads are compatible. What's iPad 7th gen? Wait, let me check what iPad 7th generation is. Yeah, it came out in 2019, so I should be good. And the last thing we need to talk about is Apple Intelligence. AI for the rest of us, but not for the rest of us because it's only support on very limited devices like the iPhone 15 Pro. So you have a lot of stuff. It's only available on certain devices. You can write with new intelligent tools. But I heard Elon Musk and Apple were like having a legal battle with AI or something. And you have stuff like tools, party notifications, party messages and mail. Check it for flight from Newark from San Francisco to Newark from San Francisco. And you also have the summary. You could also have the notes app, reduce interruptions, smart reply, which is also on Android. You could also make images, but now might be a good time to actually change my change this to generative AI. So I gotta change this in lieu of YouTube's like policy. And you have Genmoji and image playground and Jamoji. Also do a ton of stuff. This is new Siri, and it has all new design. Ask Siri stuff. Type it to expand the product knowledge. Richer language understanding. On-screen awareness. Personal context. And seriously take action. Great cows come with great privacy. I don't trust this honestly. And now they are integrating ChatGPT with macOS, iOS, and iPad OS. So it's only compatible with iPad Air M1 and later, iPad Pro M1 and later, iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, MacBook Pro M1 and later, iMac M1 and later, Mac Mini M1 and later, MacBook Air M1 and later. My sister owns one. Mac Pro with M2 Ultra, Mac Studio with M1 Max and later. So unfortunately, I don't own any device that uses Apple Intelligence. And now might be a good time to address some of Samsung's like deficiencies when it comes to like their devices. Now, this is based on personal observation as both an Apple user and a Samsung user throughout my life. I'm going to start by complaining about the software update cycle on Samsung phones. It is extremely fragmented, and it depends on if you buy your phone through Samsung or if you buy your phone through your carrier. Now, let me tell you this: while international Galaxy S6 models got Android 7 within months, AT&T Galaxy S6 users had to wait a full year just to get Android 7. Also, it does depend, also matters where you buy your Samsung phone from to get the latest updates. Meanwhile, on iPhones, has a more unified software update cycle, which means if you buy your iPhone in Delaware or Tokyo or Europe, you will always get the latest version of iOS whenever Apple supports it. And the after sale support for Samsung is, according to a lot of people on the internet, the worst of all major smartphone manufacturers. I see nothing but complaints when I search for Samsung customer support complaints or something. And there's and if you buy your device in the US, you can only get support in the US, which means if you go to the true north, aka Canada, you won't be getting support for your Samsung device there. Like, even if you drop your phone accidentally and you break it, there's no one that can help you. Well, it's a different story on iOS because on iPhones because Apple stores exist in many corners of the world and they are willing to help you regardless of if you bought your iPhone in New York or Vietnam or something, or if you drop your phone in Tokyo or something. Also, a very important feature for me that because I'm a repeat tourist to Japan, it means that if you want to use mobile Suica, which is basically a Suica card in your smartphone, then you're pretty much screwed because it does not work on Samsung devices unless you sign a 2-year contract with the local carrier in Japan, NTT Docomo, for their version of the Galaxy phones. And even then, you need to have a residence card and a valid visa to sign a contract with them, as well as a Japanese issued debit and credit card. It's just a lot of work. And especially because many tourists to Japan use Android phones, and they can't use the Suica function because it's just really convoluted or something. And this is made worse because Suica cards are in very short supply, and JR East is doing an absolutely terrible job with procuring enough chips to like meet the the high demand of tourists going into Japan. Meanwhile, if you own any iPhone that's currently supported by Apple, then you can still use mobile Suica regardless of where you bought your iPhone or what credit or debit cards you have, with some exceptions. And let me tell you that this is neither a defense of Apple or Samsung, but this is what I've observed throughout the years. So basically that's it for today's stream because soon I will be let's see. I'll be working twice a week. Uh and I will have less time for streaming, so I guess my next stream will be on July 31st or November 21st. We'll see about that because I'm actually pursuing my college career more now, so I have less time to stream. So this might be it for today's stream. I'll see you in the